thank you for your precious time for another interview on Now TV, something like 1 year after the White Void
Yeah,
release.
almost exactly a year, I think.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
So happy anniversary, happy birthday to White Void.
Yes,
And
thank you.
yeah, Black Void is the new one.
Yeah, well, in this instance, the old king is not dead. There's just a new king fighting for the throne, I guess. I'm arranging my own little Game of Thrones within my own musical environment here, it seems. So, but yeah, I mean, White Void is still around. I mean, we're recording the second album these days with White Void. But Black Void sort of grew out of White Void as a reaction to White Void. I mean, when I was writing the White Void material, um, I just came to a place pretty soon where I needed to get some outlet for the screaming and the rage, you know, that I usually put into my music, but that I couldn't really put into White Void. So that's why Black Void came to being. You know, I needed an outlet for that part of my musicality, and I just started writing like punk riffs, basically, as a contrast to the sort of shiny pink melodic White Void stuff. And the whole thing just grew out of there. So it's really fun to see that, you know, there's a chance of doing something a bit, you know, weird and special and on the side of everything, also within like the bigger record label confinement. You know, Nuclear Blast has been pretty cool when it comes to that.
So it's like a kind of yin and yang.
Yeah, it's a reaction, you know, it's the flip side of the coin. I say, you know, where White Void is colorful and flamboyant and melodic, Black Void is just monochrome, black and white, and frantic, you know, aggressive. White Void is softly produced and you know, easy to listen to, while Black Void is just really uncomfortable. I mean, it's uncomfortably produced, it's uncomfortably like packaged, and it's meant to be that sort of contrast. And also, I mean, when it comes to the songs themselves and what they're about, the lyrics, White Void goes down the absurdist road, as we discussed the last time we talked, with
Jean-Paul
Albert Camus.
Sartre, all the
No, with Albert Camus and absurdism, while Black Void is based solely on Nietzsche and nihilism. And I think it's kind of an interesting thing for me to do, to write in these two directions, because Nietzsche and I mean, both nihilism and absurdism have the same starting point. So much as, I mean, the music of White Void and Black Void also have the same kind of starting point. It starts with my interpretation of different genres, but then they explode into different directions from there. So yeah, that's the whole setup, I guess, of the White Void, Black Void thing.
And White Void was kind of tribute to the 70s, to the music 70s. And yeah, this one, Black Void, is could be a tribute to the 90s,
Well,
Norwegian
I mean,
black metal.
yeah, I guess. I mean, White Void pays tribute to like the hard rock of the 70s, but also of the new wave of the 80s. I guess Black Void also goes back to the 70s and the 80s, but the music that Black Void pays tribute to is like the original punk. And also, you know, the starting point of black metal, the old Venom and the old Celtic Frost and all of those bands who sort of led the foundation for the genre that we know today as black metal. So I guess you could say while Black Void is punk and black metal sort of mashed together, White Void was like 70s hard rock and new wave mashed together.
Like, explain us the title. It's not surgery, it's a knife fight.
Yeah.
What
Well, Nietzsche's philosophy. I don't know if you've read any of Nietzsche's books, but he is
the
known.
Antichrist is one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
the Antichrist. Yeah. Well, then you know that Nietzsche's language is so delicate. I mean, of all the philosophers I've read, he has the most beautiful language.
Hmm.
Also, when I read Thou Spoke Zarathustra, I mean, it's just such a set of beautiful sentences, beautiful images, but the contents of those images, the contents of that language is just, in a philosophical sense, so fucking brutal. I mean, nihilism as a philosophical direction is a brutal philosophical set of thoughts. So that title sort of speaks to that, you know. Yeah, it might look like surgery. It might look like it's, you know, these small and beautifully done little incisions. But in reality, this is a guy with a machete just going the fuck at it. And which is, you know, one of the things that fascinates me about Nietzsche's philosophies, because if you see what he's talking about, and if you see what kind of implications his thoughts have on how society works, on how people found, you know, their own beliefs and how they set up their own moral codes. If you see what the philosophies of Nietzsche does to that, it's really brutal stuff. What he says is you have to tear down everything we think that we know, because there's no basis for any kind of knowledge. There's no basis for any kind of morality. So the only way to make a working society, a truthful working society, is to tear everything down and to start again. So yeah, I mean, all of the lyrics, they explore different sides of that philosophy, and also takes in, you know, what would it mean if we follow down that road, if we did what nihilism tells us to do.
Yeah,
You know?
Nietzsche asked us to, or philosophers, they want us to question ourselves, and I have the impression that society is not ready. It's not ready for to question itself, and we are going down deep like the Titanic, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, all kinds of philosophies, they have these different ways of sort of attacking that basic question, you know, which is, what are we and why are we here, right? What's the meaning of all of this? And some philosophies come to some conclusions that's even more problematic than the question. And I think Nietzsche is one of those philosophers. He looks at, you know, the discrepancy between, and as Camus did, you know, the discrepancy between what we need as humans when it comes to direction and sense and what the universe serves us. But the main difference between, I guess, Camus and Nietzsche is where Camus sort of just says, well, existence is absurd, and the only way to handle that is by just accepting that, just by truthfully accepting that. So that just rolls underneath everything that you do, and you don't have to specifically relate to that all the time. What Nietzsche says is, well, one of the reasons why existence is bleak is because it's really fundamentally meaningless. And not only that, but whatever we think we know, we do not know, because of the idea of eternal regression, right? It's like you always talk about knowledge as a sort of a pyramid, right? Because you reach conclusions because of deductions. So we know these things because of these things underneath.
Mm.
And these things we know because of these things underneath that. And again
But
and again and again ad
but
infinitum. But there's no starting point.
yeah,
And that's what Nietzsche says. That's what he says, you know, the eternal regression. There's no starting point. So there's actually no way of knowing anything. There's no starting point, which means that everything we think that we know could be just the exact opposite of what we know. And, you know, the next step in that, you know, chain of thought is, okay, what does that do with our sense of morality, our idea of what's right and what's wrong? And Nietzsche says, well, what that means is there is no right, there is no wrong. We cannot know that something is inherently bad or inherently good. And I mean, that's why that's why nihilism is one of the more bleak philosophies, because Nietzsche, he didn't want to create a system that's sort of made us mere negative shadows of ourselves. He also serves some kind of solution to this with the whole idea of the Übermensch, which is the exact opposite of what most people think it is.
Mm.
It has nothing to do with humans reaching a new level and becoming like a Superman kind of image of the old humans, but it just means that humans take the basic idea of that there cannot be knowledge seriously, which means that we have to construct society in a different way. So yeah, that interesting ideas, but pretty bleak as well, I guess.
so that's why you wrote also the song "Death to Morality."
Yes, because there's no way. I mean, from Nietzsche's philosophies, you can deduct that there's no way of knowing anything, and there's no way of saying this is right and this is wrong. And then people will say, well, I mean, surely killing is wrong. I mean, we know from our inherent morality that killing is wrong. And then you can go, well, yeah, it would seem so, but why? I mean, can you take that idea and can you chain that to specific knowledge
Mm.
that's unfaltered, that it cannot move, that you know for a fact is sure, you know? And of course, you can't. There's no way of anchoring knowledge like that to anything. So, but I also have to say, I mean, when I write these things, I explore different philosophies and I explore different directions. I don't think a society without a basic shared understanding of morality would be a working society. I don't condone all of these ideas to the extremes in the way that you might get an idea through just reading one or two lyrics. But I'm really interested in pushing these thoughts all the way through and seeing what you have to face on the other side of that.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thought experiment more than anything, I guess.
Thank you for this philosophy court.
Yeah.
It reminds me school, you know, with an amazing philosophy teacher that I had a long time ago.
Mm.
So let's go back to the music, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nasty, really punk, really black metal, and yeah, is it the most brutal music that you have had written?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've been in bands that have you know played music closer to this genre before. I did an album with Carpathian Forests back in the '90s, which I guess is the closest to this. I did drums on the Black Shining Leather album. Um, but since then, I guess I've been working mostly in the more melodic parts of still black metal related music, but not really black metal as such. So yeah, I mean, also production wise, you know, I think this is the furthest I've been away from that sort of core of what I've been working with musically for the last, I guess, almost 20 years.
Good. And so if you play live with this band, and yeah, would you play White Void and Black Void on the same show?
Yeah, I've had a few people ask me that question. You know, White Void and Black Void are different bands, so it wouldn't be the same concert. But I mean, playing with both bands on the same night, maybe. I mean, we're doing a few live shows with White Void later this year. Haven't really set up any live band with Black Void yet, but it would be fun to play that music live. I think it's got that sort of energy to it. I guess that would work well on a stage. So yeah, maybe I would have to play with White Void first, and then ruin my voice with Black Void afterwards, I guess.
Is it the same lineup?
No, it's well, the drummer's the same, but it's a different guitarist.
Okay.
So, and we're also just a trio. So I play bass in Black Void as well as singing. So the bass player and the guitar player of White Void are not in Black Void.
Okay, but the same drummer, and is the IHSAHN drummer?
Yeah, same guy.
And he launched today a new band, which is amazing, with the Angle singer. And have you heard it? His new project, The Day We Left Earth.
Ah, yeah. Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, he's also. I mean, he's in so many different bands, like jazz bands and prog bands, and he plays all kinds of stuff. Really talented musician and a really cool guy to work with. He also, I mean, I guess you can hear also from his drumming on the Black Void album that most of that stuff is just like brutal one takes, just going bananas in the studio and just racing through stuff, just to get that sort of rough organic approach to everything that I love so much. You know, that we also did the same approach with White Void, just to capture that sort of live feeling by not editing everything up, you know, like so many other bands do. Just leaving in all the small little quirks and the small variations, you know, the way that they were recorded. I like that.
And now I think within the next few days, you're going to travel the ocean and go to North America to play with BORKNAGAR. How do you feel?
Yeah.
How do you feel for the show?
Oh, that's going to be so good. I mean, I haven't toured since 2019 because of COVID. So finally getting back on the road again. Yeah, it's going to be so good. We're going to be on the road for almost 5 weeks. US and Canada, together with our good friends of Rotting Christ. Yeah, that'll be amazing. But it's also going to be a bit weird because I mean, I'm in the middle of launching Black Void. So the next single and next video is coming out on the 22nd. That's next Friday. So I'm releasing a new song and a new video with Black Void while being on the road with a different band, probably doing more interviews from the tour bus, you know, trying to make this schedule, you know, work. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It'll be really nice to come out and just meet people again, meet the fans, and just feel that you're a part of the greater metal community again. You know, it's one of the things I've you know, really wanted to experience again throughout the whole COVID situation.
And Sakis is also a guest on the Black Void album.
Yes, he is. He does guest vocals on the Closer, which is also the next single, the Dadaist Disgust. Made an amazing job there. I mean, so much fun to work with that guy. And I also returned the favor. Rotting Christ is releasing a song now with the launch of the tour, and I do some vocals on that for Rotting Christ. So sort of an exchange of services. But it's always, I like this collaboration stuff. You know, it's fun.
And the thanks to COVID, there were a lot of collaborations in the music business, and it's especially in metal. And I feel really great, you know, to show that metal community could be friendship and good people.
Yeah, and I have. I mean, I also have a collaboration on the Black Void album with Hoest from TAAKE, which was also fun for me because I've known that guy since like '97, I guess, and I always loved his, you know, almost completely strict approach to what he does musically with, you know, the old black metal framework. And I've always wanted to do something together with him, you know, within that framework. So I'm really happy that he too wanted to collaborate with me on this and help me with vocals on one of the songs. So a few pretty cool collaborations too on this album. I'm really looking forward to getting it out there, all of it.
And to finish, amazing show at Hellfest. I can't wait for this show for years.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to playing Hellfest this year with BORKNAGAR. I mean, we were supposed to play last year, and we were supposed to play the year before that. But then, COVID, you know. So finally, that ball is rolling now. Finally, the tours are going, the festivals are going. Finally, we're back, you know, with the metal community together again. I love that. So really looking forward to all the tours we're doing this year and all the festivals and just meeting people again. I love that.
Let's meet at Hellfest this year. Yes. I will be here. Okay.
Let's have a beer.
Thank you, Lars.